Games. I'll just start with a disclaimer that I'm not doing this to shit on the Ragnarok Games. I'm not doing it to shit on the organiser. I think the competition's being talked about more and more. A lot of it is in a negative light, so kind of an opportunity to look at some of those negativities, dispel some of the nasty rumours that are still going about, but also look at some of the things that have not been addressed and give my thoughts on them kind of. I am competing at the competition, but I'm not influenced by that to try and make it seem like it's some fantastic competition that I'm involved in, and I'm not influenced by any of the organisers, but we will, over the next couple of episodes, have Mike Della Pava, who's the guy in charge of selecting the events and the weight, giving us some information, and we'll have Captain Ralph, the organiser, who is going to have a chat with me, but he's not willing to address anything relating to the hate that he's been getting online about the competition. So the Ragnarok Games, the website says it's a competition like no other and uses the most unconventional tests of strength. It's not really clear what it means by either of those statements. It's a 2-day competition. There's international athletes from around the world. There's novice competitors, there's open competitors, and there's pro level competitors. There was no qualifiers for it. Anyone could enter. You just kind of, give the category that you want to compete in that's the most appropriate. One of the things that a lot of people did find unusual about the competition was the amount of invites that were sent out for it, and that's why it's drawn comparison to the strength games, and there did seem to be a bit of a link between the two competitions, which Ralph has kind of distanced himself from now, and the issue there with the strength games was, of course, that this competition, which went on last year in Ohio, I think it was, or Idaho somewhere, there was quite a nice prize purse for it, which is similar to what we've got with the Ragnarok Games, but the promoter didn't pay out any of that money, and none of the winners got anything. The Ragnarok Games does have a $20,000 prize purse for the pro men's category and a $10,000 purse for the women's category, so it's a pretty serious competition based on those numbers. Strongman's not a well-paid sport, and those numbers are pretty nice. There was a few comments made about the fact that the women's competition has got a much lower prize fund than what the men's has, which the organiser, I suppose, has quite fairly said is because the pool of athletes is significantly smaller, so the payout per athlete will be quite similar, which kind of, I understand that makes sense. There was another few weird bits of stuff going on the website there. So there was a link to the Hilton, at the one that's nearest to the airport in Miami, where the website for Ragnarok Games was claiming that if you click through that link you would get a discount rate at the hotel, but what actually happened was you were charged more if you went through that link. It's no longer claiming to give you a discount, but I've not checked recently if it gives you the same rate as going through the normal link to the Hilton website, or if it's still charging you more. There was quite a few negative comments about that, which is quite understandable. It's got a weight class system in the competition that's quite outdated, rather than the usual numbers that are around the under 90, under 105 categories. You've got a more old-fashioned under £275 for middleweight, which is really quite heavy compared to what middleweight would be in competitions now. So it's kind of more subdivisions of opens, really. The competition has got, it's a 2-day competition, which is cool. There'll be a lot of people there who've not done that before. The second day is scheduled to last 12 hours based on the information that's on the website, which would be fucking brutal if it does go that long. There's a few things I've noticed. Athletes are not allowed to approach the judges or else you'll be immediately disqualified. It's quite unusual. There's confusing stuff about max weight yoke and max weight farmers, and then other places it's listed as max distance, and then somewhere else it's listed as a set distance but for fastest time. And I think those are some of the things that I'll be able to address with Mike Della Pava on next week's episode. Originally, the athletes roster was absolutely chock full of people that weren't competing at the competition because of this situation where there was invites sent out and anyone who'd expressed interest was put on the athlete roster and they were left there for quite a long time, which resulted in a message being sent out saying the competition was full, but then shortly after that loads more spots opened up, which I think a lot of people felt like that looked a bit unprofessional, which I kind of get, but I think that's been rectified now, and everyone who's on that athlete roster now is people that are genuinely intending to compete. They've all paid up. I know there was this issue with Iron Podium. A lot of people didn't enter through Iron Podium. It's a bit of a difficult one for me to comment on because we don't have that website in the UK, but I know there's a lot of international athletes, and it's maybe something that I can ask Ralph a bit more about when I speak to him. It does look now like the competition has been significantly legitimised by some of the things that have gone on over the last few weeks. So Magnus for Magnussen is going to be there. He's apparently been paid up front, which gets rid of quite a few questions about the financial aspect of the competition. The sponsorship from Cerberus and New Age, which big names to be involved in it, and it does seem to make the competition seem a bit more legit. The concern I have, which was quite, I suppose from a promotion aspect of it, because I suppose I've been looking at things like that as I've put 2 competitions on this year, was the way that the competition's portrayed on social media, which some people probably think, it's Instagram, who cares, but it does look to me a lot like there's not a lot of thought gone into it. All the pictures that are up on Instagram are really, really low quality. It's like the promotional images have been thrown together using Marvel images that I assume are not licensed from the company, so there's a potential that if this competition was to catch on, it's going to have to rebrand itself next time, because if anyone was from Disney or Marvel to catch on to that, they would expect some kind of royalties for using their images, which just doesn't seem like a very good idea to me. One of the biggest issues people have got at the moment with the competition is the weights that are being used. This is exactly why I'm speaking to Mike this week to address some of these questions that people have got. So each week I'm going to talk about some of the events that are happening at the Ragnarok Games. There's, I think, 8 or 9 listed on the website, plus mystery events. And they're heavy as fuck. They're fucking super heavy. So the event number 1 is front hold, which for me is the worst event in Strongman. It's a test of mental strength, not physical strength. And personally, my mental strength is fucking shit compared to my physical strength. It's an event of who can grit their teeth the most and endure with the most pain. It generally looks shit to a crowd watching it. This is obviously my opinion. I know some people share the same opinion, some people don't. It's not a spectacle, it doesn't look brilliant. It's quite repetitive and goes on for a long time normally. I suppose it might not in this one because of the weights that are being used. I understand why the front hold's there. The theming of the event being kind of like Viking and Ragnarok themed, the use of a Thor's hammer for a front hold, it look kind of iconic, I suppose. And that would be great if all the competitors were going to be using that piece of equipment. So the majority of the weight classes are not using a Thor's hammer, they're using a loading pin, which renders the idea of the event null and void to me, or shows that you don't really give a fuck about the lower weight categories apart from super heavyweight and pro. So the category I'm intending to compete in, the heavyweight opens, are using £50. That's roughly 22.5 kilograms. It's certainly a reasonable weight. I can't complain that that's too heavy, and don't think anyone would. I've used more in a competition at intermediate level before. I'm not looking forward to it because I hate the event. The pro category which I'll talk about a bit more because it's easy to find information about the competitors in that category, are using £66, which is the same weight as Giants Live used last, and it's £6 less than what World's Strongest Man used for the pickaxe forward hold last year. So it's a pretty serious weight, and you know, there's some good competitors there, but there's literally one who's been at the level of Giants Live or World's Strongest Man. So it'd be interesting to see what kind of numbers the open competitors get on that. Deadlift for reps is event 2. This will be the last one that we look at for the day. For me, I think I'm quite a good deadlifter at the level. Too much in case I do shit when the time comes. Heavyweight are using £700, 317 kilograms for reps. I've done it for a triple before. I'm confident that by February I can be doing 5 reps maybe of that, and I think that'll hold up quite well, I hope. I don't see many people at that weight, at that level, pulling many more reps than that because it is raw. There's no suits in this. Which I'm glad of because I don't like suits. The pro category are going to be pulling £800 for reps, 364 kilograms, roughly. Which, if we equate that to, you know, your Giants Live type of competitions, I mean, they generally do 360 axle for reps with suits on, and there's people getting 2s and 3s in that. These are the strongest guys in the world. I think maybe it'd be worth the Ragnarok Games letting the pro category put suits on. I've had a look through some of the competitors there, and just as a disclaimer here, I'm not trying to shit on any of these competitors. I've picked a few of them out because I knew who they were already. And I apologise in advance for butchering anybody's names. So, Dean Evans is probably one of the biggest pullers there. He's had a few bashes at £1,000 in a suit. I think he probably will do it before long. I think he's got it in him on the right day. I know he's pulled 425 a couple of times in a suit again, but I'm confident of Dean getting a few reps in here at £800 raw. Beyond that, I mean, Ortmeyer is the easiest one to get information on. He did 3 reps of 400 kilos in the SCL final last year. Struggling to find any videos of that, so I don't know what the setup was because they sometimes use like Hummer tyres or car deadlift. He's pulled £851 for a single in 2020 and 755 for 6 in the same year, but again in a suit. So I'm confident he's not going to zero it unless he comes in terrible shape. I had a look at some of the other guys in there. Aaron Royal has pulled 370. Looks like it's probably in a suit. He had a bash at 400, again in a suit. I think maybe a single at 364 raw would be a good result. I'm going to butcher these people's names. Aurelien Lejeune, France's strongest man. Looks like his PB's 360 in a suit. So it'll be a big ask probably, depending on how much he gets out of a suit, for him to pull £800. Ayub Mohammed, £782 is his PB. Not sure if that was in a suit. So, I mean, yeah, maybe he's going to get 1 or 2, depending on what he comes in, like how well he peaks. Melon Mercado, apologies for my pronunciation. The most recent video for him I could see was a really hard 320 axle, and it looked like it was in a suit. I didn't go through everyone's information, so there might be some guys in there who are fucking monsters and going to go out there and pull 5, 6, 7, God only knows how many reps. But there's also equally the possibility that there's going to be loads of zeros and like 1 or 2 reps is going to win the event, which is not great for the crowd. Well, I'm going to leave it there for today. I don't want to ramble on for too long. So over the next couple of weeks, I'll go through the rest of the event. I'll try and get probably one of the female competitors on to talk about how they feel like the weights have been laid out for the females. As I said, next week we'll go through with Mike Della Pava from Barlax Gym about how he came involved with the event and what his role has been in selecting the events and the weights, and talk to him about why he's trying to break my back with these numbers that he's put up. So yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble on.